Okay, so before I actually get into many of the questions that you guys had, first I want to tell you about a surprise bonus. So this is something that I wasn't planning to put in this course, but I think it could be of value. Basically, this is a talk that was given by a prominent speaker at one of the live events that I did at in Dallas here locally. So if you didn't know, the course that you're taking, the online course, it actually used to be an on-site course. So it used to be a live course where people were actually coming and attending here in Dallas. And I did this twice. So I did this once publicly, and then twice. The second time I did it privately for people who weren't able to make it to the first one. And at this first one, we had a speaker. His name is Sheikh Yasser Birjas. And some of you may know him, some of you may not. Basically, he teaches a course for Al Maghrib Institute called, I can't remember what it's called, but it basically has to do with business ethics in Islam. And it's an amazing course. And actually, when I sat there in the course, about to, listen to him speak, I was like, okay, this is just going to be a bunch of, stuff that I already know. It's just going to be fluff. It's going to be, a waste of an hour or whatever. Not to be offensive or anything to him. But again, sometimes we think that, topics like ethics and mindset and things like that are kind of things that we don't necessarily need to know about or know more about, because we think that we know, everything about it. And that's how, kind of how I felt about this topic. And then when he went through the entire presentation, I was like shocked, and I was like, man, this is amazing stuff, and people need to know about it. And so that's why I'm making it a part of this course. And this is Sheikh Yasser Birjas, just in case you didn't know who he was. But he's really awesome. And this surprise bonus will be posted in the members area on Thursday, November 12th, so just in a couple of days. So I'm excited to provide you guys with that. Hopefully, you guys can benefit. It's not more than 45 minutes to an hour long. You can, just watch it whenever you get some time. It'll definitely be of some value to you. So all right, I also want to apologize, a very sincere apology for myself that Module 5 was supposed to go up yesterday. It will instead go up tomorrow, Wednesday, November 11th, with Module 6. I really apologize for the delay. And inshallah, future modules will not be released or will be released on their scheduled dates. They will not be released late. So this week, Modules 5 and 6 going up tomorrow together, as I mentioned, and future modules as the schedule that I released earlier, they'll go up on those scheduled dates. So again, I really apologize for that and the delay. All right, so the format of this call is very simple. It shouldn't last more than an hour and a half or so maximum. Address submitted Q&A. So again, I appreciate those of you who submitted, the questions and concerns, and we're going to be addressing most of those or all of those right now, actually. And then at the end, I'm gonna, ask you guys if you have any further questions, maybe if they weren't answered, in the submitted Q&A. So, all right. Number one, is there a checklist we could make for future product selection? And all of these are great questions, by the way. Amazing questions, really. So I think, just pay attention. Maybe you didn't even think of a question that is here and that will be answered. And again, like I said, at the end, we'll have our own live Q&A as well, just in case there was a question that you had that wasn't answered. So, yes, we can make a checklist and I can prepare it for future product selection. So I will put that together. I will have it made by, some designer, make it really nice, PDF format and whatnot. And I'll get that to you guys as soon as possible. It won't be possible for you, obviously, because you've already done your, initial product research and selection. So hopefully in the future, if you're going for your second product or whatever, or if you're starting a little bit late in a couple of weeks or in months, then this will be useful to you. It should be up by then. Do we have enough time to compete for the holidays market? I want you to look at this calendar that's on the screen right now and take a look at the dates, specifically on December 4th. That's where it says, it's right under Black Friday. You can see December 4th. It says ensure inventory arrives at Amazon for optimal availability for delivery by December 25th. Okay, so that's a very serious date. It's like it should be highlighted, that should be in the back of your mind. That's basically the date that you have to get your inventory to Amazon FBA, okay, in the US, if you want to have a good chance or, pretty much guarantee that you will be able to sell and have your items delivered, your orders delivered by the 25th, which is Christmas, obviously. And that's when people are expecting to get their items so that they can give them as gifts and whatnot. So it's an important date. And so the answer to the question is yes, you do still have enough time to compete for the holidays market, but the window is very tight. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's still possible, okay? But just make sure that you, again, select a product, find suppliers, order samples, evaluate samples, and place mass production order. These 5 things are extremely important, and you need to get these done as soon as possible, okay? Because, and don't worry about anything else. So like module, 4 goes into how to create your Seller Central account. Module 5 and 6 will go into other stuff. Honestly, do not worry about any of that. You need to master the fundamentals, which is modules 2 and 3, basically. Okay, so finding products and finding suppliers, that's all you need to be working on right now. Don't worry about any other module or anything further than that until you are done with this process. Okay, it's very important. Again, I mentioned in the welcome video, prioritize. Don't worry about anything else other than these, initial steps. Because once you do these steps, then you'll have some waiting time. Obviously, when you place your mass production order, you may have a week or a week and a half or whatever time period to take care of all the other stuff that you need to take care of. So don't do that now, okay? Realize what's important and what's in front of you. But at the same time, I really want to make this, I want to emphasize this. Do not rush, okay? Finding a good product opportunity is the #1 priority. And this is so important that I put it up again in all caps. Finding a good product is the #1 priority, okay? Nothing else. It's an even greater priority than getting a product up by the holidays. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you and that's clear to you that getting up and running and selling, during the holidays is important. That's good, but that's not what's going to make or break your business. Okay, because the first step, which is finding a good product, that's what will either make or break your business. So, so if you rush right now and you don't go with a good product, okay, and it doesn't matter even if you get up by the holidays, but you don't have a good product, there's no point. Okay, so you need to make sure, even if you miss the holidays or even if you miss the end of December, that's not a make or break thing, okay? It's fine. You're building a business. You're not looking for, an influx of income at the, at one point at the beginning and that's it. No. It's great to use the holidays as a boost, but again, what's more important is choosing a good product that will enable you to sustain your business in the long term. You want to try to sell in the holidays, but it's not a make or break. And January and February are still very, very good months to sell. Okay, so it's not like, right after December 25th, like it's down the drain, like that's it, products aren't going to sell. No, not at all. January is the 3rd best month of selling out of the entire year after December and November. So December is the best, November is 2nd, and then January's 3rd, and then February follows that. So again, even if you don't get up by the end of December, even if you're early January, mid-January, there are still people shopping. Okay, I mean there's still deals and everything going on, people looking for, people still shopping. Again, the holiday season in America really is from like November all the way to like February, March, because you have so many holidays. You have Valentine's and you have all these like ridiculous holidays coming in between, and it's just meant like that. We live in a capitalistic society, so don't think that just because you missed Christmas specifically you're going to miss out. Okay, again, #1 priority is finding a good product. That's the #1 thing. All right, #3, can a supplier ship directly to Amazon FBA? Yes. This is actually preferred, especially for your first mass production order. Make sure it's door-to-door shipping. So the supplier will be responsible for air shipping from China to the US, customs duties, and ground shipping from the US port to Amazon FBA warehouse. So everything is included. So make sure that for your first order, for your first shipment, that you make sure that the supplier knows and that you're clear, you and the supplier are clear that it's door-to-door. Okay, because I know some of you had questions regarding customs and duties and this and that. If you make sure that your supplier knows that he's responsible door to door, meaning he has to get it from point A, meaning his factory, that factory in China, all the way to Amazon FBA, that final address where it should be delivered, then they're responsible for everything and they will include all the costs associated with the entire process in their shipping cost, okay, in their additional cost. That's in addition to FOB, which is, as we mentioned in the videos in the training, that doesn't include anything other than production, essentially. Okay, so this is preferred for your first shipment, especially because you can use air shipping or even sea shipping, and not use their shipping. Like you can actually, take care of some of these parts on your own, and it could be cheaper. It's just it requires more work and it's more complicated. And you can do that in the future, but for this first order, for this first shipment, and this first time you're doing it, I'd recommend just letting the supplier take care of all of it, because that will be the quickest process and the simplest process as well for you. Okay, how long does it take for Amazon to make the product go live after they receive it? So normally 2 to 3 days. Okay, but in the holidays, I would say more than that, double to triple that. So 2 to 3 days, I would say. Sorry, 3 to 7 days. Okay. So just keep that in mind as well. So for example, if you're looking at December 4th as the potential, deadline to get your products to FBA, then you're looking at a week before that, probably November 27th or so. You're looking at, you want to get your products to Amazon FBA, which is in 17 days, by the way. But again, it's still possible for some of you who are going with very small products. If you've already ordered your samples or even perhaps gotten your samples, then you can easily, I think, get there. Just make sure that your supplier knows as well, that hey, this is the deadline I want to, I want you to get, these products shipped by and whatnot. And try your best to get it. Again, December 4th is recommended. Okay, it's not a set hard deadline. Like if you don't get it by December 4th, you will not be able to sell during the holidays. No, that's not the case at all. Okay, but that's just what Amazon recommends. And obviously they would recommend conservatively because they want people to, ship their inventory to them as soon as possible so that, they don't have an extremely large amount of inventory that they have to go through, like a week before Christmas. So again, December 4th is not hard deadline, but the sooner the better, obviously. Okay, number 5. I got confused when I started the accelerated product research. So which one should I implement? Okay, so I think this is referring to Profit Phoenix because that's the tool I recommended for accelerated product research. So I like to use Profit Phoenix personally for the first part of the product research process, which is finding the initial product listings. So as we looked at in the videos, basically you go to the Amazon bestsellers list and then you go to the categories and subcategories, and then you just kind of look at the listings and you see which one actually meets the price, and then if it meets that initial criteria, that's the first thing you see is the price. Then you go into it, check the BSR, and so on and so forth. Instead of doing all that, you can use Profit Phoenix to simply filter out every product that's in any category that doesn't meet one of those criteria. And that's why I think that that's a good, the tool is it makes it much more efficient, that part of the process. But still, there is beauty in the manual process. I honestly, I just have a love for something that's manual that allows me to go into everything in detail and look at everything. I'm just much more of a visual person, and also software can be incorrect sometimes. So um, it's up to you. But in my opinion, I would use Profit Phoenix if I was in your situation for the first part of the process, and do not use it for the later part. So once you identify those initial listings, then after that, go into the manual part of it, where you check the reviews, you check, the competition, the optimized listings, the number of, everything that's mentioned after that part. I would not use Profit Phoenix for that because it's not necessarily robust enough yet. I know that Profit Phoenix, the guys, the owners are always making improvements and whatnot and adding stuff, but again, there's a long way to go with that software. Okay, number 6, do I have to finish my Excel sheet before listening to module 3? It's preferable, not required. Okay. Um, and that's the answer. So you do not have to necessarily have your Excel sheet, done before listening to module 3. It's preferred though, right? Don't move ahead until you're actually done with the module 2, which is product selection and research. So you want to make sure that you do that part first before you even get into how to contact suppliers and that whole process. So again, it's preferred, but again, I mean, it's not required. No one's going to force you to not want, you have access to the modules and you can watch them at any time you want. Number 7, what are the best product departments one should be focusing on since we're about to start the holidays? So this is, there's no answer to this in terms of, some products perform better than others in the holidays. Obviously, there's some sense to that, or there's some, uh, some products obviously do perform better in the holidays, but on a general level, it's more important to know what departments, produce the best number of sales. So Jungle Scout is actually a great tool. It's like a, Amazon research tool that can help you, determine, what categories, for example, to go into, which categories perform the best. So I posted this in the Facebook group, and, I'll show it to you here again. As you can see, it shows the what BSR is required in any category for you to get 20 sales a day, 10, 1, and 1 a week. Okay, so this is great because it shows you a comparison between the categories, right? The relative kind of numbers that you can see amongst or between categories. So for example, this is telling us that to get to 20 sales a day in, for example, home and kitchen, okay? So to get to 20 sales a day in home and kitchen, you need 6,000 BSR. That's amazing because our criteria go up to 5,000, right? Which means that if you can even sway that a little bit and go down to 6,000, if you can find a product at 6,000 and you can, private label that product and start selling it yourself, and you can get to that rank of 6,000, you're actually selling 20 a day if you're in the home and kitchen category. Okay, so it shows you the potential. So obviously the higher the number is here, the more potential that category has, because it means that to get to 20 sales a day, you don't have to be that high of a BSR, right? And then for categories such as jewelry or camera and photos or appliances, right? Obviously those are categories we don't even look at. That's not, as I mentioned in one of the first videos, that we focus on some specific categories and we leave or disregard some others. Um, so for example, like appliances, you actually have a BSR of 35. So you actually have to be in the top 100 of that category to get to even 20 sales a day, which makes sense. Appliances is obviously not something that would sell, a lot. So again, this is a very useful chart. It's here. It'll be under this recording, under this video, in the members area, and it's also already in the Facebook group. So take a look at that. It may help you determine what category you want to go into. All right. Okay, also part of this answer is that specifically for the holidays, just think about what kinds of products make the best gifts, honestly, right? People buy, mainly during this time, not for themselves, but as gifts, right? And so just think about what kinds of products make great gifts. That may also help you determine, as a secondary criteria, which of your products on your sheet you may want to go with. All right, so if our products are not being sold, will Amazon hold on to the products until they are eventually sold? Great question. Yes, Amazon will continue to hold on to your products, but they will charge you long-term storage fees. Okay, so it's not like a magic warehouse where they can store, hundreds of millions of units and there's no end. Of course, they have a limited capacity to how much they can store, so they're just going to charge you if you have your products there for a long time. But don't worry, I actually get this question a lot from people. There are easy ways to get rid of your inventory and at least break even. So, hopefully you never actually get to this point where your, product's not selling. But again, it can happen. People have gotten into this situation. The good thing about it is that you can easily, whether it's lowering your price or whether it's, driving different forms of traffic to your listing and lowering the price or offering discounts. There's so many different ways to really get rid of your product and at least break even. So you won't lose money. You'll just obviously have lost the time, but you'll still obviously gain the experience, even if your first product wasn't successful. Um, but also, as a response to this question, I don't want to hear any negative if questions. So if our products, don't sell, if Amazon shuts down, if, the world ends, like it's, like I don't like negative if questions. I know that you obviously, again, the principle is you hope for the best and you plan for the worst, which is great. But at the same time, mindset is huge. So, learn to think positively, optimistically, confident, and hopeful. I don't mean that offensively to whoever asked this question. It's kind of in a joking way, but at the same time, again, just remember that mindset is huge. Always be positive and, don't think too negatively about, the future. Just, take it one day at a time and do your best throughout the process. Okay, number 9, would you agree that online entrepreneurship is growing exponentially? Yes, absolutely. There's a reason I put together this course. There's also a reason that you're taking this course. It's because of the implied answer to this question. Yes, online entrepreneurship is growing exponentially. Amazon itself is growing exponentially. And one of my favorite statistics, this was even in my promo videos that I did, as part of this course, the 4 free videos. Currently, only about 25% of the world has easy access to the internet, which is about 1.75 billion people out of the 7 billion on this planet currently. Only 25% of the entire world has easy access to the internet. And again, for some of us who are attending this call, in the comfort of our homes, easily accessing the internet on a daily basis as part of our normal lives, this statistic is a bit shocking and unbelievable. But this is the case. Okay, this is reality. That most of the world still doesn't have this luxury, that we know as the internet or the online web. But based on technological advancements coming out in the next 3 to 4 years, so people like the CEO of Google and many others who are part of that circle, like the most advanced, the highest, caliber people in the technological space in industry today, based on what they predict and what they know about the technological advancements coming out in the next 3 to 4 years, an additional 50% of the world will have easy access to the internet, which is an additional 3.5 billion people. Okay, so that's ridiculous. That means that like doubled the amount of people that are currently on the internet are coming and joining in the next 3 to 4 years alone. Okay, so there's, for anyone who tells you, hey, the internet is dying or online entrepreneurship is, it's just not the best thing to do. Like, don't slap them in the face. I will slap them in the face for you if you send them my way. Or if you don't want to get physical or do anything wrong like that, you can simply present them with a statistic, and it's an eye opener, honestly. And this is literally going to be a revolution. And again, revolutions only happen once, which means that like the Industrial Revolution didn't happen again, right? The American Revolution didn't happen again. It happened once, and that was it. Okay, and that's because by definition, revolutions essentially only happen once. So this growth that we're seeing, this immense change in online entrepreneurship in the online space, and the growth that we're going to see, not only what we've seen in the past couple of years, but the dramatic change that we're going to see in the next 3 to 4 years will honestly, in my opinion, never happen again. This is a once in a lifetime thing, honestly. So that's why if there's any time to get involved, it's now. So simple answer to the question, yes. Okay, number 10. The guy who wrote a paragraph for his question, no, I'm just kidding. I've noticed that so many Amazon sellers are almost secretive about their business on Amazon. Is there a reason why we shouldn't discuss how we started from the bottom? Now you're here. I only ever hear of the now we're here, half from successful Amazon sellers. Too taboo. So, I think this is just personal preference. People like to be private about their businesses, their investments, etc. I think it's human nature. I don't know, again, what what most people think about this. It's just how many people are in this space of online and Amazon business. I personally, as well, try my best to remain private about, the different brands I have, or, the products that I have, on Amazon or online or whatever. I think that just that's people's preference most of the time. I don't think there's necessarily a reason for it other than they just want to be private. On the other hand, I do know people who don't mind sharing their products. Okay, so I think just more commonly people are private about it. But there are people who are comfortable with telling people what they're doing, so not a big deal. All right, number 11. Since Amazon is just a platform for launching a brand, what is it like doing online business post Amazon? Also, sorry to add to this one that I didn't put here, is sometimes people feel like, okay, well, someone might steal their idea, or if they found like a really good product that no one knows about, then someone might start doing it. That's kind of another reason for people not sharing what they're doing, which is, I understand that. Okay, so number 11, since Amazon is just a platform for launching a brand, what is it like doing online business post Amazon? So once you can master the Amazon platform and you can do really well with it, then you basically create your own platform or website or funnel, right? You don't want to ever rely on a third-party platform, even if it's Amazon, which is an amazing platform to be on and sell on. You don't ever want to put all your eggs in that one basket, because Amazon could shut down your listing, or competitors, or could come in, or any number of things could happen, and it's just unexpected and unpredictable because it's not your platform, right? And so that's why it's just great to have your own platform. First of all, because it's another medium of you actually getting sales and getting your make increasing that awareness for your product or for your brand. But also that because it's your own platform, there's no unpredictability. You know everything. There's no competition there that's competing with you right next to your product like there's on Amazon. It's just your own website. You can show the potential customer what you want, and you can hide from them what you want. So the control over the platform as well is huge. Okay, so just again, things like Shopify, where you can create your own online store or e-commerce store. WordPress, which is a website builder, which we'll discuss later in this course. You can also use that to create, an online store. Also ClickFunnels, which is basically a funnel building site. So you may not even need a website in some cases. You can just put up a few web pages and have your product link there where people can buy. It's just there's just so many different ways to do it. Once you have your own platform or website or funnel, then you basically drive paid traffic to your platform. So that includes Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Pinterest ads, Instagram ads, any number of platforms that have ads that you can pay for, to drive traffic to your platform. That's basically how this works. So whereas Amazon is a third party platform, but their traffic is there, so you don't have to worry about traffic because Amazon has traffic all the time, right? In your own platform, even though you have control, you actually need to drive your own traffic to your platform. That's a difference. That's a huge difference, and you have to pay for it too. So we'll touch on some of this stuff, especially in some of the bonus modules that you'll be getting access to. Okay, number 12, I found my product and chosen a supplier. After I've evaluated their samples and placed an order with one of them, is it smooth sailing from here? So it depends on what you mean by smooth sailing. It's great that you've gotten to this point. I mean, that's huge because a lot of people are still, at this stage where they're choosing a product or finding suppliers or, even evaluating samples. It's great that you are already past that point and even placing an order. That's huge. So, um, smooth sailing, again, it depends what you mean, but to me, it gets fun from here because I love marketing. So that includes, things like setting up your product listing, getting reviews from people, and so much more. And all of the stuff obviously will be covered in the course in later modules. Um, so this could be a yes or no depending on if you love or hate marketing. So obviously, one of the reasons that marketing is so fun is because what you're doing is you're just trying to get people to buy your stuff. Even though that sounds kind of sleazy, that's literally what you're doing. You're just doing stuff to make people buy your stuff. So that's it's fun to make money. So hopefully that makes marketing fun for you. But yeah, definitely you're already past one of the most difficult stages of this process. Now it's just getting your stuff to Amazon and then just selling it. So all right, more questions, and a lot of these I didn't actually put text on the screen to answer them, so let's just go through these one by one. I'll answer them verbally. There were tons of questions, so that's why I wasn't able to put them all together, but I'll still answer them here live for your benefit. Okay, so we see that sometimes the search/demand figures found on merchant words is very low, but on Profit Phoenix, the same keyword brings out products that sell well over 200K per month. What do we do in that instance? Do we go by merchant word figures? Please advise. We've tried multiple search terms for the same product just in case people were searching by other terms and buying it, but it still comes out low. So this is a great question. Basically, I think that with regards to demand, there are two main things that you look at that are more important than merchant words and Profit Phoenix, and that is BSR and trends. Okay, because one thing you have to realize about BSR is that you may find a BSR that's very high, and by high, obviously we mean the closer to zero means the better the BSR. So the better the BSR, the greater demand there is for the product. But BSR can be played with very easily. And what I mean by that is that you can manipulate BSR very easily as a seller. So to give you an example of that, if I have 1,000 products sitting around and I put out a promo code and I get 100 sales in one day, I could be at like 10,000 BSR, but that day, after I actually sell those 100 products in that very short amount of time in one day in 24 hours, my BSR could jump literally from 10,000 to like 1,000, right? And so if someone's researching online on Amazon and trying to find good product opportunities and they see this product that has 1,000 BSR, they may be like, oh, well, this is a great, this is a great product. whereas, it may have just been a promotion or as a result of just some quick sales or influx of sales. So that's one thing you have to realize about BSR is that, and that's why there are so many other factors or things that we look at with regards to demand. So when you see BSR, don't just rely on that one number. You should also look at trends, which is very important. So you basically are looking at camel.com and seeing, well, how has this product performed throughout the year, over the past few months and whatnot? Is it trending upward or downward? And then you use one of these sites. Merchant Words is again for search traffic, and Profit Phoenix is, so the numbers on Profit Phoenix honestly are not the most accurate. There's no platform out there, even a platform like Jungle Scout, which is a kind of another good one, a reputable one. There's really no platform out there that can give you the exact amount of sales or the numbers that a product is doing. Okay, so again, it's just I like Merchant Words personally. It's been out there for a longer period of time. Profit Phoenix is much younger. So Merchant Words numbers, I like to to go with them more than Profit Phoenix. So that's what I would recommend. But again, do not ever look at one of these things by themselves. So don't look at Merchant Words number, and if it's good, then be like, okay, well, this is great. Or Profit Phoenix, or again, even BSR, right? You want to look at all of these things collectively, which will help you make a more informed decision. Okay, for some products slash keywords, 2 to 3 of the top 5 search results on Amazon seem to have their BSR ranking up and down within the duration of a year. However, if you go down the page, the products with BSR 1000 plus seem to be stable. What do we understand from this? Doesn't mean that the product demand sales is not stable enough. Okay, so if 2 to 3 of the top 5 search results have up and down, okay, sorry, some of these questions I'm actually looking at for the first time. So what I would understand from this is that I think that the demand slash sales are stable actually, because if you find that the top 2 or 3 of the top 5, are up and down, whereas the ones after that are BSR up above 1,000, but it depends how much above 1,000. Like there was no end range there. But if they're stable, then that's a good thing, right? Because that means that if they're like around 1,000, then that means there's very good demand for those products. And if they're remaining stable, even if they're later on the page, then that means that it's great actually, because the more products you find that are, around that BSR range that you're looking for, then that means that there's a lot of demand for that product. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I would say that the product demand slash sales are stable enough in this category based on what you've said. Again, you can at the end of this, when we do the live Q&A, maybe if you want to clarify this, or if I didn't maybe answer the way you wanted the answer to be, you can again rephrase it or re-ask it. All right, number 3 on this slide, when will you start helping us with product selection? So I signed up during the webinar with Brother Abdul Majid when he said that you and he will be helping 10 people out to select products. So this is to clarify for those of you who don't know what this person is referring to. Basically, at times we did webinars and we offered some special bonuses to people who attended live and who signed up. So to this person, we'll actually be emailing something out tomorrow with steps on how you can go about this process. So look forward to that tomorrow. Number 4, we worked on 60 plus potential products. That's awesome. Follow the entire process and judge them against the 4 primary criteria. However, we ended up with 11 to 12 products that have the potential of 30% profit margin or more. Is that okay? Yes, absolutely, that's okay. Do we need to keep looking until we have 20 to 30 products? No, you do not. The fact that you found 60 plus potential products is amazing. Actually, in the training, what I meant by 20 to 30 is that's what you should be looking for. So the 60 number, that's the number that should have been like 30. So you actually did, a lot more, which is great though. I mean, you got more potential products, from that 60, you got 11 or 12. Maybe if you did 30 or 40, you would have gotten maybe 8 to 10, which is fine. Again, you're going to look for any potential products up to like 30 or so. And again, the minimum was 30. So it's good that you did 60, because now you probably have a great list to select from, 11 to 12. Please note that we even went on Alibaba.com and tried to get some idea about real prices for each product before discarding and moving them to the final list. I mean, that's amazing. It seems like you went through all the steps. You even went through a couple of extra steps and went, beyond it. So I would say you've done everything you need to with regards to product research. Now make a selection. Now narrow that list of 11 to 12 products down to your top 3, and then, again, just narrow it down to your top one even from there, and then just start, start ordering those samples from those, start finding suppliers and then ordering samples. Okay, I've selected this one product which fulfills all the criteria that you taught. I do now, and then check the listings for this product to see if I will be having new competitors. I noticed it is okay for now, especially when I see that there's less than 3 optimized listings on page 1. However, when I go to page 2 or 3, I notice that there's a huge number of optimized listings relative to page 1. Even though their BSR are a bit out of ranges, it's still possible that these listings will later get into the range or even lower. This could be my potential competitor. Should I stay away from this product? So that's a great question. I think that page 1 is really what you want to look for, because the strategies that you'll learn will enable you to, get to page 1. So if you don't find more than like 3 optimized listings on page 1, and of course you're looking at all the other criteria collectively as well, then I think you should be fine. But again, if you're not comfortable, or if you want further clarification on this specific product, of course, first make sure that it's not on the list of products to avoid or products to disregard. You can message me honestly with the name of the product or the link, and I can take a look at it very quickly. It usually takes me no more than like a minute to determine whether or not a product would be too competitive or not, just by looking at some of the results. So again, if you want to message me privately or email me, I can help you out. But based on what you've told me, I would think it should be fine. Okay, if you find a product that ranks very well, and after typing the keyword in the research bar, you find that only one product is selling very well and the rest above 5,000 BSR, what do you make? Is that not proof that there's a huge market underserved? So that does not mean that there's a huge market underserved. That actually means that there is not enough demand for that product. There could be other reasons as well. Maybe it's brand driven. But if you only find one product that's selling very well and everything else is not selling very well, then that means that that's not stable demand, in my opinion. So if only one person is getting the sales, okay, and that could be again for various reasons, but I would not go with that. If you find a product that is unique but is in BSR range 1,000 to 5,000, is that an opportunity to make the same product under your brand, or just stay away? So if you find a product that is unique but is in BSR range 1,000, yeah, I mean, it depends what you mean by unique, honestly. Um, this question is kind of vague and doesn't provide enough information, I think, for me to actually give you a full answer. But yeah, just because a product is unique doesn't mean that you can't do it, or you can do it. I mean, it just depends on if you can find suppliers to actually make a product that's unique like that product. But again, the main thing to look at is the criteria, okay? And then look at whether or not you can even find suppliers to make that product. So the criteria are more important than the product itself. The biggest struggle is finding products. Yes, I agree. After exploring a lot of categories, you will always find the same products coming up. For example, I really went in deep in the automotive space and didn't find enough products. I moved to kitchen, found it really competitive. Any tips? My tip, honestly, is to just keep looking. Every time you do a search, whether it's using Profit Phoenix or doing it manually, just go into different categories and go into different subcategories. Just it's just it requires time and it requires commitment. I don't know how long that this person who asked the question, has been doing this, but I mean, there's people that have spent like tons of hours, including myself, on this stuff. And again, I know that at some points and sometimes you feel like, well, I've done so much, I've done hours of research, and I haven't found anything. I keep finding the same products, and whatever. Try different methods. If you've tried the manual process, go to Profit Phoenix and try the automatic process, or using their platform, or vice versa. Or, in Profit Phoenix, for example, one of the best ways to do it is when you're entering the criteria, enter different criteria every time. And I mentioned this in the video. So if you do between 1,000 and 5,000, maybe the next time you do like between 800 and 5,500, or 500 and 4,000, right? And then change the price criteria up, change the other criteria up, right? Again, you have to give it some leeway. You're not going to find perfect products, but you want to find them as close as possible to meeting the criteria. So just keep looking, keep trying different things and different criteria, and hopefully you'll find something. And again, just because a product is not perfect doesn't mean it doesn't go on your list. If it's close enough, but in one criteria maybe it's not there, or maybe it's just not close. but it's close enough, put it on your list. Okay, your goal is not to find a perfect product, which is impossible, but you want to find at least a good product. So again, put that on your list. Don't just because it doesn't look perfect, don't not put it on your list. I'm still in the product research level. My passion is for kitchen and dining supplies like disposable paper products, disposable coffee cups, aluminum foil, etc. The following is my fear, or are my fears. Number one, most of these items are fragile, not durable, and since this is one of the conditions to be met before picking a product for listing, please, what is your take on this? I actually believe I received another question about this, so I'm glad that you asked this so I can answer it here. It depends what you mean by fragile. So it depends the extent of the fragility or the non-durability of a product. Something like for example, paper supplies and aluminum and this and that. I think that's fine. You want to obviously make sure that your supplier is putting them in packaging that enables or doesn't make it easy for them to be crushed. Obviously, if they're light products like something like paper or foil, my I think main point of saying that don't the non-durability is like glass stuff, right? So glass stuff, even if you don't touch it, just by shaking it or whatever, it can break. I think that was more something to really stay away from. Whereas these products, you can kind of talk to the supplier as well. Sometimes you may think that a product is not durable enough or whatever. Maybe again, put it on your list and consider it as one of your final options. And as part of your filtering, maybe just quickly contact a supplier and be like, hey, if we were to ship this across, across the world to the US, is there a concern or would there be a fear of crushing these products? Or have you done this before? Has it been successful? Obviously, they have so much experience. Ask them about it. Maybe what things have they done? What steps have they taken to actually prevent this, right? So that's number one. Number two is I've also researched some of these products and they fall outside the top 5,000. Some are in the region of between 5,500 and 7,500 in ranking. Is it advisable for me to go into this area or should I look into other areas? If it's close enough, I would say probably go for it, especially if it's in those categories that are hot categories. So kitchen and dining is home and kitchen is a very, very popular category. As we saw on the Jungle Scout chart, it's actually one of the best. So to make 20 sales a day, you need like 6,000 BSR, right? So even, I mean, again, you can easily get to 10, 15, 20 sales a day, even if you're between this range of 5,500 and 7,500 in that category specifically. Okay, so it depends on what category you're in, but for the most popular categories using that chart, it would definitely be okay for you to even be within this range, okay? And that's actually a great point here as well, that sometimes maybe you're being too rigid with your criteria for everyone who's listening. Okay, you're trying to stick to the 5,000 by the book. Go up to 6,000, try it out, see, now that you have that list as well, maybe it'll help you, give it some leeway a little bit, not only with the BSR, but even with some of the other criteria. If yes, for me to go ahead, is it not possible to have a quality listing that will improve and better than the existing ranking of similar products on Amazon? Is it not possible to have a quality listing that will improve and better than the existing rankings? I think it just depends. I think that with some categories or some product markets, no matter how good a listing is or the quality of a listing or the quality of a product, it's just there's not enough demand for that product to increase above the threshold that it possesses. So a product that's been between like 5,000 and 6,000 BSR for that's just where it is, and it's been there for months. Just because your product listing is amazing doesn't mean that it's going to shoot up to like 2,000 or whatever, right? There has to be an overall sort of increase in demand for that product, for you to actually increase in BSR, increase in ranking. Okay. Okay. So, all right. 4 or 5 star reviews is one of the criteria needed to look at when selecting our products, but I realized that when picking products on Module 2, this criteria was not adhered to. Is it not so important? And more so, if any of the listed criteria is absent, can we still go ahead just like that of 4 or 5 star reviews? Yes, absolutely. So 4 or 5 star reviews is not necessarily one of the, like the more important criteria. It's definitely okay for you to go ahead if it's not meeting this one criteria. Absolutely. I'm not sure of the manual product selection process, if I'm doing this correctly or not. I have found some products, but they have a BSR between 500 and 5,000, are within the weight specs, good price points, but some have over 100 reviews. That's perfectly fine. So if you've found products that have the BSR criteria, they have the weight, they have the good price points, they have everything, but the reviews, they have over 100 reviews, that's perfectly fine. Because the criteria didn't say that you can't have products that are above 100 reviews. The point of the criteria was try to find at least two of products on page one that have less than 100 reviews. Even if you can't find that, even if your reviews are a little bit over 100, like you said, between 101 and 155, that's perfectly fine. It sounds like this is actually a great product opportunity to go into. So I would not ignore them. I think it's a good product opportunity. I haven't done the parts of the product selection search yet. For example, merchant words, check or comparing top 3 products using the keyword search. Any advice or thoughts that you can share? Um, I mean, follow the videos. Follow what I've mentioned in the course. I think that's all I can say here. You haven't checked or compared the top 3 products using the keyword search. I think, that's fine. Based on what you mentioned in the first part of this question of it, it meeting most of the criteria, it sounds like it's a good product opportunity. All right, when calculating ROI, how do you know what the shipping and manufacturing costs are? Do you enter $5 irrespective of the product? This is an excellent question. I should have mentioned this in the video itself. I realized afterward that, $5 obviously doesn't apply to every product. For some, it may be less. For some, it may be more. A very easy way to kind of do this or determine this is to go to Alibaba.com while you're doing the product selection and you're calculating profit margin or ROI. You basically see what the FOB costs are for the product. So sometimes it may be $2 or $3, and then just add $1. Or if you want to actually contact someone, if they're live, on the chat, you can actually ask them, hey, how much would it cost to ship this many of these units or whatever. That may take potentially only 5 minutes or so. You could get a more accurate value or number there. But generally, for the most part, $5 is a good estimate, okay? But do realize that it could be less or more. And if you do want a more accurate number, then yes, you can do the route where you go talk to the supplier or just check on Alibaba real quick to make that more accurate. If so, this would affect the ROI, as I found on 2 occasions a negative ROI was calculated. I'm not sure if I've done anything wrong. I would be more worried about the $5 being too low of a number, not too high. So if you did $5 and your ROI was negative, then I would probably stay away from that product, unless it was a very small product and $5 seems like way too high. If it's closer to $2 or $3, but I would definitely probably not go for something that had a negative ROI. Again, check your calculations, make sure that it's the exact way that you found, or the way I did it in the video. You can even check the transcript. It actually lays the process out of calculating very, nicely and simply. So go ahead and check that out. And again, if you double check it and it's still negative, then I probably would advise staying away from that. I think the time set for the coaching is 7 p.m. EST, which is midnight here in the UK. I will not be able to attend tonight's one, so that's great. So this person's not listening to this answer, but they will in the recording. But will they all be held at the same date and time? It's a good question. I was thinking to hold them all at the same date and time, meaning Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think what I'll do for the next couple of ones at least is resend out a poll on the Facebook group. As we get more engaging and more active on the group, I think more people will participate in the poll than maybe did in this past one. So we'll do it again. Maybe in the next couple of days, I'll put up another poll saying, hey, what time and day next week do you want the second coaching call? And based on the votes, obviously, we're in a democracy here. So based on that, we will schedule the next one based on whatever date and time gets the most votes. All right, I have a UK bank account. When Amazon pays what they owe to sellers, will there be any fees like currency conversion fees or anything like that? Yes, there will be. So Amazon, I believe, does its own currency conversion for 4% or something. And then I think you can use a site like WorldFirst to make those fees lower. So you can actually have your UK bank account connected with WorldFirst, and then WorldFirst accepting the amounts from Amazon in USD, US dollars, and then WorldFirst takes care of the conversion. and they do it at like 2.75%, I believe. So you're actually going to save a good, percent or a percent and a half, which can be significant in the long run, obviously, if you scale that. So yes, I would probably recommend doing World First if you're in the UK. Set World First up with, to accept US dollars from Amazon, and then World First can convert your US dollars that you're getting from Amazon into your local currency in the UK, at a lower conversion rate than Amazon would if you were connecting directly from Amazon to your UK bank account. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, when I jump to this opportunity, he gave me a bonus. So this is kind of the right or the same question that we had earlier. Again, as I mentioned, we will email out some info to those specific people who signed up with those bonuses on the live webinars that we did recently. We'll get that info out to you by tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, so that is it for the pre-planned questions, or pre-submitted questions, I should say. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead. I'll take some live questions, maybe those weren't answered or addressed, as part of this presentation. I apologize again for the unfortunate technical issues. I still don't know what happened. I'll have to look into that. But I appreciate your patience and for being responsive when I asked if anybody was listening, or what y'all can actually see. So all right, so now let's go ahead and, as I said, if you guys have any other questions that you want me to answer or respond to, you can go ahead and type them into the chat box now and ask that question. Okay, so is there a way to tell for a given product how many items are sold for the first 3 sellers? Example would be, I have chosen a product, and how do I know how many quantity will be sold per month? Unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, it's very difficult to get those exact numbers. Amazon keeps that information, and that being the number of sales that a product has, they keep that very secret. And tools even that are reputable, like Jungle Scout and whatnot, they, there's no 100% accurate way for them to tell. They can only give ranges. So I would advise going back to, and again, you can take a look at the screen, the presentation. This chart right here, it kind of just gives you a relative range of, how many, again, like it says, how many, what BSR do you have to be to do 20 sales a day? So imagine if you only have to be at 6,000 BSR in home and kitchen to do 20 sales a day. I mean, imagine what people in the top, 1,000 might be doing, or the top 3,000, right? So again, there's no exact numbers, but you can get the range. Hopefully that answered the question. Just rule of thumb, or you can incorporate in training. Um, did I not get the entire question? So someone asked the question, just rule of thumb. Oh, okay, sorry, ignore. Okay, I will ignore that. How to be sure that suppliers will send to Amazon warehouse the same quality of the sample for each item? That's a good question. Um, First, you want to be clear with them. Make sure that they know and that you know that you're on the same page. Even put it on the invoice or the contract if you want, that, hey, the quality of the sample that you sent me, the quality of the mass production order will be the same. Okay, your products will be the same quality as the sample, because generally samples sometimes are the better quality because they're trying to impress you with that product, but then on the actual, the mass order, they might make it not the same quality or lesser quality. So make sure that they're always using the best quality materials for your products. Make sure it's written somewhere so that you can refer back to it if you have issues with your product, or if customers have issues with your product. Also, a good way to do it, going along with the images. So my advice, and this will be covered in a couple of the next modules, that when you, or maybe I even talked about it already in module 4, is that when you ship your inventory from your supplier, let's say you're ordering 500 units, you want to tell them to ship you maybe 2 or 3 units, because you're going to need those units for images. Okay, so you're going to need to take images, either you, or you're going to have to get someone to do it for you, like a photographer. So to be able to do that, you're going to need those products, the final product. So you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Not only do you get your products so that you can take the images, which you'll need to do anyway, but then you actually get to see the quality of the final product. Just in case there's any issues or whatever, you can let the supplier know. Obviously, the supplier's already at that point sent the products to Amazon. But at the very least, you have your own product in your hand too, so you know what your customers are going to be getting. Is it safe to invest twenty to $30,000 into products later on in the business? I mean, later on in the business, of course, based on your own situation. Yes, I mean, I know people that my mentor specifically, he does 100, or he's probably around maybe 60, 70K a month in revenue, mashallah. So he easily spends that much. I mean, 20, $30,000, especially if they're going into a new product. They generally don't go below like 3,000 units, for the initial order. That's just mashallah, they're able to do that. So for you, again, just depends on your situation, but yes, I mean, you can invest up to any amount you want for products later on in the business. Okay, if I have a warehouse in the US, should I use it, or are buyers more interested in being able to use Amazon Prime? That's a great question. So now we're basically comparing fulfillment by Amazon to fulfillment by merchant, right? Um, my response, I've actually tried both. Personally, I'm actually still testing out FBM. I'm actually trying to see if fulfilling my own products is worthy of competing with products that aren't selling that are selling FBA, meaning they have the Prime and everything. From my experience so far, FBA is the best way to go. Okay, FBA is just, many people don't even consider your listing if you're not Prime. I noticed that. The free shipping over $35 orders, that's another thing. And it just seems like Amazon actually drives more traffic and ranks you better if you are using FBA, which is unfortunate if you were looking into FBM, fulfilling your own orders if you had a warehouse or whatever fulfillment center. But it seems like FBA is the best way to go right now, and until someone can really prove, whether it's myself or someone else who really tries it more extensively, that hey, FBM actually competes well with FBA. But for now, it seems like FBA is the way to go. Fulfillment by Amazon. Okay, if a customer gets hurt by any means by our product because of a bad quality of our product, who is responsible? And if they sue you, how much this impact me and my LLC? So that's a good question. The thing is that um, a lot of times when you can ask your supplier this honestly because it's different with different suppliers. The main types of products that people can be hurt by honestly are those that they use on their bodies. That's a huge liability issue with, that's generally beauty products. So those are products that go on your skin or inside your body, consumable products. And that's another reason why we recommend, or why I recommend, that you always source from the US for those types of products. Again, anything that goes in or on your body. Because suppliers in the US, they will many times take responsibility, for any liability issues. You can also look into insurance and whatnot, but generally with products that are, sourced from China, generally there's not a worry because you're not looking at consumable products from there. If you were, then yes, that would be something to talk to your supplier about. Who is responsible? Again, it's different based on the scenario and your supplier. And if they sue you, how much will it impact you? Well, LLC. It's interesting that you mentioned that. The term itself, LLC, limited liability corporation, and applies, of course, to you if you're in the U.S. It implies that there's limited liability on you as the owner. So if someone was to sue you, God forbid, then they could only go for your company's assets, not your personal assets, which is a good thing. And that's why if you're in the US, I highly recommend starting an LLC, is because it provides limited liability to you as the owner, and it protects your assets when you have a company, an LLC established. Okay, I need help with shipping. The supplier I opted for giving options which cost way higher. Okay, so um, again, this is kind of a vague question. If you wanna maybe make it more specific. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll definitely get, suppliers that are charging very high rates for shipping. I am actually planning to put up a video in the next few days on how you could potentially lower your shipping rate. Even if you're doing air shipping, there are ways to lower it if you don't use the shipping of the supplier. There are other freight forwarding agencies that you can go through. It's more complicated. There's a learning curve there, and also it takes more time. So those are the things to keep in mind, but I will inshallah upload a video in the next few days regarding that. That should help. As for just a general advice or basis on, with shipping, again, just look for different suppliers. I mean, you're not going to get a good rate, sorry, a good idea of what the shipping rates are unless you contact multiple suppliers. Because then if you see that one supplier is charging you like, a couple of thousand, and then another supplier is charging you like 500 for the same amount of units shipping to the same place, then obviously you know that someone's, the one supplier who's charging you high is trying to rip you off, right? So that's one of the best ways, with whether it's with the unit cost or whether it's with the shipping. One of the best ways to see whether or not the rates are too high is to just contact multiple suppliers and see what each of them gives you. Okay, so yesterday I tried to register to watch the courses videos and I wasn't able to access even, so I changed my password. Okay, so yes, uh, I will get back to you. We're friends on Facebook, so I will message you right after this webinar with the link and how you can access. I apologize, I'm not sure why you're having issues logging in, but hopefully we can resolve those immediately after this webinar, inshallah. Okay, I was thinking of investing in uh, a product. Okay, so any product, I'm not going to mention the product because I don't know if the person wants me to mention it to everyone, so I'll keep that private. But it's a product that has to deal with fire. Um, it's up to you if it utilizes a certain gas. It's definitely up to you. I'm not going to make a recommendation based on, again, I don't necessarily look too much at the type of product, more at the criteria. I don't even know if the criteria for this product meet. If yes, then, just uh, yeah, I would just consider the liability issues. If you think that potentially someone could get hurt, or you could face something like that in the future. So I think we should build a list of trusted suppliers in this group. Absolutely, I think that's a great idea. It's just that there are so many different types of suppliers, and I appreciate the suggestion. There's just so many different types of products and markets and suppliers. I mean, we could definitely start, putting together a list or a spreadsheet of some sort where, you know, a supplier that provides kitchen and dining products or a supplier that provides cell phone accessories, you just have the name on the list. Absolutely, I think that's fine. And we'll get that started. Again, I'll put all these suggestions down on my notes, and we'll see if we can implement, inshallah. All right, have you tried to order without using Alibaba? If I know suppliers directly, should I try using those contacts? Alibaba sometimes says pay $5 to produce a product, but colleagues of mine say that they had gotten these same things for 75 cents each. Yes, definitely. If you know people directly and you don't have to go through Alibaba, then why not? Go contact those people directly and you'll probably get better rates. And that actually goes along with the previous question of, we think that we should build a list of trusted suppliers. This would be an excellent use of our group, right? The fact that we have someone in this group that knows suppliers directly, if you're willing to provide that information and help everyone else that may be looking into the same kind of category as you, that would be extremely helpful, I think, if you have direct contacts in China, for example, suppliers. So, okay, I think I will ask this question in the group. Okay. Um, what is the equivalent of LLC in Canada? I honestly don't know, because I'm not in Canada. I apologize. I wish I could answer this question. I can look into it, or if you want, maybe if you can look into it and get back to me, if you're not able to, and then I can, because I know a few people in Canada who, are doing this business. So let me know. Let me know if you're able to find out. If not, then I'll try my best to help you out. Okay. I see quite a bit of my friends starting Amazon for the last 5 months, and now by the time I launch my product, the given criteria you have given, the chance are we will end same product by multiple sellers. That means supply and demand rule is messed up. How can we avoid this? Uh, I would just go by the criteria, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't worry about, the same product by multiple sellers and this and that. Obviously, there's a rule of supply and demand, right? The more sellers slash supply that comes into the market, that means the price lowers. So obviously, that's why you want to look at the criteria that we've provided in the course to make this decision. I wouldn't necessarily worry about what your friends are doing or what people are doing. I would more worry about the market on a general level. I hope that answered the question. I'm not sure if I did exactly or not. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. If there are any other questions, you can ask them now. This is your last chance, pretty much. The webinar has been going for more than an hour. Hopefully this was beneficial. I really hope so. This was our first one. I'll send out, sort of, okay, 1 second. I'm waiting, no worries. But I hope this was, a good format. And, again, I'm always looking for feedback. So I'll send out a very short, maybe survey or form to all of you, even those who maybe watch the recording of this, obviously they can also provide feedback so that we can make sure that we're always improving, each of these calls and utilizing them to the best we can. Okay, so one person just said 1 second. Maybe they have a question that they're typing, so I'll wait just a minute or so. And again, for anyone else who has questions, go ahead, please feel free to ask. This is your time to ask, rather than messaging me or anything like that, because I know that sometimes I'm so busy, I don't get a chance to respond the same day or, very quickly. So honestly, I'm live right now, so we can address these questions right now instead of waiting or messaging or emailing. If we finish all of the modules, how much more marketing is there for us to learn? Also, where do we learn these tactics? Okay, so you actually haven't been through um, the marketing modules yet. So modules like basically 5 onwards cover a lot of the marketing stuff, and that's really exciting stuff. So I think this question would be better served or better answered after you actually go through those modules, because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of tactics and strategies that you'll learn that will help you, rank your products, sell your products, and whatnot. Obviously, there are much more general marketing principles and marketing tactics that you may be able to learn after even watching those modules. But the tactics you're going to learn are specific to this business and to the Amazon business and how you can rank your products and whatnot and increase your sales and ranking. So, um, yeah, in a couple of weeks, once we're through all the modules, then, maybe ask this question again and we'll have a better answer. Okay, maybe I missed someone's question. Hold on. Okay, so someone said, did you see these questions? Okay. Um, okay. 4:17 a.m. for somebody. I apologize. We will try our best to change the time for the next call. I'm not going to change it myself. Again, it's going to be based on what everybody votes for. I think that's the fairest way to do it. Hopefully, it's not the same time next week. Just make dua, just pray for it. My supplier can't print my logo on the product because of the low number of units. Is it okay to start? Yes. Do not let something small like that prevent you from moving forward. If that's the best supplier you can find and they're giving you good rates and everything is good, and the only thing that's that's not perfect is that they can't print your logo on the product, that's fine. All right, if you're ordering a low number of units, sometimes suppliers do say, hey, you can't print the logo because it would cost us more or whatever, because you're ordering such a low number of units. It's perfectly fine. Keep moving forward. It's okay to start. Go for it. If our optimized ads are professionally done in great pictures and professional videos, will this make a huge difference in comparison to without? Will it produce more sales? It's this is kind of vague, so I don't know if you mean optimized ads by like ads on Amazon or external ads like on Facebook and whatnot. If you want to specify this question a little bit, go for it. Uh, Yeah, I mean, with regards to pictures, like the images on the Amazon listing, that definitely does make a difference. Videos aren't even allowed on Amazon product listings, so that doesn't apply here. Okay, I have a couple more questions here. Is Profit Phoenix revenue and selling numbers tell the truth? I don't rely on them, honestly, because again, Amazon keeps those numbers very secretive anyway. Even like a major tool like Jungle Scout doesn't actually can't actually give you accurate numbers. Um, so yeah, you can take a look at them as like collectively or as part of your research just to see and compare, but um, I wouldn't consider them necessarily perfectly accurate or the truth, quote unquote. How the searches on merchant words or merchant website can tell us how much this particular item is selling. Merchant words does not give you the number of units that are selling. That's a very important distinction between how many people are searching for a specific keyword. Keep that in mind. So merchant words again is not telling you how much a product is selling on Amazon. It's rather telling you how many people are searching for that specific keyword or specific keywords on Amazon. So okay. Also, I also do something like that is like this in Canada with our online course. How many hours are you able to contribute? Okay, perfect. Or this is an interesting question. So person's asking that, I work for an organization like you worked for, which is Bayina, here in Canada. How many hours are you able to contribute to Bayina with Amazon being full time? So I actually don't do much work for Bayina anymore. I'm a consultant with them on an official basis, but I think I probably do like a couple of hours or a few hours a month maximum. Right, and I don't think I would be able to handle any more than that. There was a time where I went from 40 hours, which was full time, to like 10 hours or 15 hours. That didn't work out. I was still not able to, really balance both things. And then I went down to like where I am now, which is between like, 0 to like 4 or 5 hours a month. So it's very, very minimal at this point. So it's almost negligible, actually. So I apologize that I can't answer your question. For me, I wasn't able to contribute more than 5 hours to be, with this being full time, if that answers your question. How to find most sold items for the holidays. Okay, so you can use this chart that's in front of you right now on the screen. Or like I said, just think of items that would be great for the holidays. You can do Google searches, top selling items online for holidays or something like that. That may give you some good ideas. If I find the same item on Alibaba that has the same image on Amazon, can I ask the supplier to brand it for me? Yes, absolutely. Um, I actually think when I was doing the cookie cutter example, the cookie cutter set in the video, in the raw comprehensive review video of module 2, or maybe when I was searching on module 3, uh, I actually found the exact same image that was on Amazon as well, that was also on Alibaba. So definitely, ask the supplier to brand it for you. Just because it has a specific brand on it or whatever doesn't mean that it can't necessarily be private labeled. Ask the supplier, and in most cases it should be. Okay, so the barcodes in Amazon FBA, that will be addressed. Um, there's a question about the address of Amazon FBA and the barcodes. That will be covered in this upcoming module, actually module 5. Some of it was covered in module 4 briefly, but it's going to be in detail in modules 5 and 6. Question is Amazon. Perfect. Okay. Okay. The word Amazon. Okay, so this person's referring to the previous question of optimizing ads and whatnot. So the optimization, there's no optimization of ads other than the optimization of keywords. We're going to get into that in a later module. With regards to the listing itself, videos aren't allowed anyway. Pictures make a humongous difference. So definitely professional pictures is highly recommended. We're going to get into that in modules 5 and 6 as well. It definitely contributes to more sales. Absolutely. Better images do that, amongst other things on the listing as well. In the policies of the Facebook group, what does it mean to PM someone? PM refers to private message, which means just message me on Facebook, essentially. That's all it means. So PM equals private message on Facebook. Okay, if I am a professional cinematographer, what is the best way to incorporate my video that shows the product in use? A link. Okay, so again, on the Amazon product listing, I'm going to get into this in modules 5 and 6, but a video is not allowed on the listing itself. You will find a video on a listing on Amazon only if that product is being sold by Amazon, or is being sold by a partner company with Amazon. So you'll always see like this sold by Amazon kind of tag or label on a product. That is what that means that they're allowed to do special things like have a video and have images in their description and whatnot. What I would recommend to you though is to do like use other platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. If you're an amazing video person, like a cinematographer, use those platforms to drive traffic. So if people see an awesome video, and if they click on it, and if you do it really well, then you can actually drive traffic to your Amazon listing from there. Okay, you can even create, let's say, a landing page of some sort. So you can create an ad on Facebook, take that to the video page, and then from there they can opt into your, go to the Amazon product listing from there. So there's different ways to use your skills, not just on the Amazon listing, but to drive traffic to it, that'd be an excellent way to use that skill that you have of cinematography. Okay, should we be competing with products being sold by Amazon Basics? In my opinion, don't it's not a big deal to compete with Amazon Basics. It just depends on the market and the other criteria. Just because of that one company, that doesn't mean you should stay away from it. Look into everything. I would stay away from only major brands, which means that like if you think of a product and you think of a brand immediately with it, that's when you should avoid it. So if I think of diapers, I think of Huggies and Pampers, right? If I think of like a camera, I think of Sony and Canon, right? If I think of whatever basketballs, I think of Wilson and whatever. So when you have major companies that come to mind immediately when you think of a product, that's when you should avoid it. Whereas with Amazon Basics, it's not even a major brand in and of itself for any type of product, I think. That's why it's okay to compete with them. Okay, once all the modules are done and we all have the business up and running, inshallah, will there be more videos about business and marketing coming out? Yes, so the bonus modules that came along with this launch registration of the course, you'll get those. And hopefully those will give you enough information and knowledge that you need about marketing um, and everything, which is, marketing automation is one of the courses, marketing funnels and, Facebook ads and, all that stuff will be part of the bonus modules, which you'll get after the 30-day refund period. Um, so hopefully that will give you enough information. And of course, we're going to constantly try to improve this course. I'm going to try to get, guests, guest people, who maybe are amazing at marketing or Facebook ads or any, YouTube ads, anything specific. I'm going to try to, invite those people on, maybe do live webinars with them or even have them record something for us. Inshallah, I'll try my best to give you guys as much value as possible, not only from myself, but from other people. Do we have to protect our brand and logo? So the two words that you have to keep in mind are brand registry. So Amazon actually has a system of brand registry, which we'll cover in a later module. That is basically the most fundamental way to protect your brand and logo on Amazon. Okay, so there are criteria for that. One of them is to have your logo on your product as well as your packaging. So I know that I think we're the specific one who asked the question of, hey, if my supplier doesn't put my logo on my product, is that a big deal? It's not a big deal. Just looking at it just by itself, it's not a big deal. But if you plan to do brand registry eventually, then it would be advisable to have your, just thinking ahead, you should have your logo on your product if you want to do brand registry. But again, if you're starting with a very low number of units, you may not want to consider brand registry until later anyway. So again, it's your choice. Are you planning on having more courses in the future? I will see, inshallah. I mean, again, I'm gonna request feedback from you all, a lot in the future. Whether it's with my, personal, future plans and whatnot, courses, ideas, inshallah, we'll work together to provide not only the best value for you all, which, you'll always get first access to almost everything I have from now on, inshallah, but, in the future for other people as well, because you guys are in business now and you guys know, how everything works and you're learning the processes. So, I'll definitely be working with you all, inshallah. Okay, how detailed should our Alibaba profile be? Not very detailed. That's not something that's very important, in my opinion. What's more important is how you communicate with your supplier, how you introduce yourself, how you hold yourself, how you, follow up with them, communication. That's more important than your Alibaba profile. That's honestly not going to be looked at much from the supplier. They're like most of the time, once you contact them via Alibaba, they're gonna initiate communication or continue communication with you on Skype or via email anyway. So don't worry too much about that. I contacted quite a few sellers. No one replied. By sellers, I assume you mean suppliers. There is a post in the Facebook group. Sister Nima, Nima, she posted an excellent post in the group where she said she addressed the concern of people who were like, hey, I'm not getting any replies from suppliers and whatnot. You can actually do it to where you post a request or an invitation on Alibaba using your account, and suppliers actually reach out to you instead of the other way around. Check out that post in the Facebook group. There's not too many posts yet in the Facebook group because we just started it, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. So that should be pretty easy to find for anyone. Okay, that was a lot of questions and a lot of great questions. I appreciate every one of your involvement and just participation. Once we finish the course, can we call ourselves entrepreneurs? You can call yourselves entrepreneurs at any time you want, at any part of your life. That's up to you. An entrepreneur is just someone who is, I mean, you're just trying to do your own thing. I mean, you're just trying to, start a business. Um, it's just, you can call yourself an entrepreneur whenever. It's not that you doing this course, you starting this course, um, makes you an entrepreneur, honestly. So congratulations. Okay. I think that's it. That was the last question. If you have any further questions, either post it in the group or email me if you need my direct assistance, or you can private message me on Facebook. Um, Mailar Warju Amin. I appreciate it. And keep me in your du'as, keep me in your prayers. And continue engaging in the group, participating in the group, and hopefully I can help or someone else can help. And thank you all for your time. Some people are thanking me for my time. Thank you all for your time. I know that you guys have busy schedules and you're trying to get this business up and running. So I really appreciate you guys attending this live webinar in your busy schedules, especially if it's 5 a.m. where you live. I sincerely apologize for that. And hopefully you won't be put in that situation. It's not my fault, it's your fellow students' faults because they voted on this, so don't blame me. Blame other people. That's my principle. Anyway, okay, just kidding. You guys have a great night, great day wherever you are. Inshallah, keep taking action and staying consistent and pursuing this business. And if you come across hurdles or challenges or obstacles, overcome them. Use the group. Use the group. It's so important to use the group. If you have any questions, concerns, anytime, that's the place to post it, because not only do I see it, everyone else sees it, and you never know who could help out or who may have the answer to your question. So please, please, please realize the value of the group and use it as much as you can. Have a great night or day, and we'll see you next week, inshallah. Thank you so much for attending. Assalamu alaikum.